Darlings, hello, welcome to episode 56. Hey, as always, sunny bonani, dumalang, goeie afternoon, bon dia. So, today's episode is a public service announcement. There's a lot going on out there. And I was called to share and foster the magic that is breath work today. So I thought I would guide you through, talk you through what is known as one of the most fundamental breath works or breathwork techniques in yoga, and it's known as three-part breath. There is a Sanskrit name that goes with it, but for the purposes of this channel and this Hina moment, we're just going to be referring to it as the three-part breath. So three-part breathing is an interesting technique for me. If you read the data out there, it says that this particular type of breath helps calm the nervous system, helps bring awareness to the breath, and it helps to reduce or lower your blood pressure. So it's deemed and seemed to be a really calming and soothing breath technique according to the data out there. However, upon practicing this technique with various people, I find that it's quite an interesting one because it doesn't always elicit this calming, soothing, restorative outcome that we would expect. In fact, if an individual has an immense amount of trauma stored inside their body, this can actually be quite a challenging and triggering breath technique that they undergo. So it might bring up or elicit emotions of anxiety or tension. They might break up into tears. So it's quite an interesting one for me. And most of the time, the people that do experience those aspects are usually, they make reference to the fact that they felt like they couldn't control the breath because it's quite a section type of breathing. You'll see as I get into it. And it requires you to focus on certain areas as you breathing into the body. So I would definitely say this is not calming and restorative for everyone. And yes, use it in times that I guess you feel called to, or you wish to perhaps play with it a little bit, or just become curious about what it does for you. Because one size doesn't necessarily mean it fits all. In fact, I always hate one size fits all because I'm like, wow, so you're telling me that a size 44 is going to fit a size 28? Like, guys, no, it's lies. It's lies, people. Okay, so yeah, that's just my personal experience and awareness of what I've seen literally happening with this particular type of breath technique. So, three-part breathing. It requires you to breathe into and focus on bringing the breath into three key areas of the body. So we usually start at the foundation or the base, which is imagining yourself breathing up or just until kind of your clavicle or your collarbone area. So you keep the breath very short and shallow because you can't take it into the lungs. So you generally feel that it's quite restricted. So this already is quite an interesting feeling, and it's just a very powerful way to observe where most people actually sit and breathe. So you're taking in around 20% capacity of air here, but 80% of people generally tend to breathe right here, this area. Short, shallow. And that usually means that the body is a little bit more stressed, a little bit more anxious, more in a fight and flight than a kind of calm and restored parasympathetic nervous system. Usually a little bit wired when you're breathing here. But it's good to practice it as part of the 3-part breath because it facilitates the ability for you to feel the full range and spectrum of breath. So the second level of breath is when we breathe into our lungs. So we usually ask participants to hold, or I do, hold your lungs so that you can feel the expansion of the rib cage and your intercostal muscles, and you'll feel the lungs filling up and contracting with every inhalation and exhalation made. And we're probably taking around 80% capacity of air. I'd say that this is a good, healthy place to be on a day-to-day basis, being mindful of it, being intentional. This is kind of, I guess, where you want to be breathing for most part of your day. Good, healthy, full breaths. It's oxygenating the body, the blood, getting everything in the system moving in a healthy way. Level 3, it's like gaming, level 1, level 2, and now level 3. So level 3 requires you to breathe deep down in the belly, all the way into the abdomen. So yes, I know we don't have lungs here, but when we fill up the breath from the bottom, so our lungs have like a tear shape at the bottom. So we filling them up all the way from the bottom and then going all the way up. And when we do this, it usually engages our diaphragm. So there's a beautiful little section here, muscle, that's known as the diaphragm, and that goes up and down as we breathe in and out. And that helps us increase the capacity of air inside our lungs to maximize it. So this is almost breathing at 100% capacity. And this level 3 is amazing if you are really wanting to do some powerful breath work and you're wanting to get into the body and move energies through and out of you. So it requires a lot more effort. It's quite a challenging one, even though it seems pretty easy, but it really requires you to push and suck all the air out of you. So when you think you can't possibly take in any more air, you find and muster the spaces in between all your molecules and you take in the breath and you push it down and you'll find more space here. So yes, so that's essentially the theory of the 3-part breathing and how it works and where the levels are at each point in time. So for the premise and for the benefit of today's episode, I thought I would take you through it. And you are, of course, welcome to join, or if you don't have the time now, pause it, come back to it later when you have a moment in time just to be with yourself. We'll probably be here for 5 minutes. And it's just a very powerful little technique for you to become present, for you to be grounded. And any breath work for me is always just such an amazing way for you to offer yourself some self-care and bring yourself into this here present moment of full embodiment with the breath, right? It's so interesting because sometimes I get asked, why do we focus so much attention on the breath? Well, we just need to stop breathing to find out how important the breath is. Yes? Both the inhalation as well as the exhalation. So when we hold our breath in and we aren't allowed to let it out, you'll quickly realize the importance and the power of exhalation. And when you're not able to take that next breath in, holding the exhale, you'll quickly realize how important the in-breath is. So for me, the in-breath is not more or less important than the out-breath. They go hand in hand. It's the yin to the yang, the left to the right, the female to the masculine, that whole scenario. So let's give it a go, shall we? Awesome. So we're going to start on level 1. And whenever we breathe, we always place our tongue on the very top or roof of our palate, tucked just behind the top row of teeth. And it's quite important that you get it flush up against your palate So what this does is it opens up the natural airways at the back, and it just facilitates and enables you to breathe in and take all that air in at a maximum level. It also assists in releasing jaw tension and relaxing the shoulders. So let's start. Find yourself in a comfortable seated position. You can be cross-legged, you can be seated in a chair, you can even be doing this in your car, in your chair, but not while you're driving, please. If you're driving, then that's great, but just keep your eyes on the road, okay, people? So yes, let's go, shall we? Let's woosah and let's settle. So remember your tongue placement in your mouth, tucked up gently against the palate. Relax the jaw, relax the shoulders, and just allow the body to come into a full state of presence and relaxation. I want you to imagine that your spinal column is almost a powerful rod of light, and you're seated nice and straight, core is engaged, shoulders are pulled and peeled away from the ears, extending the neck. Beautiful. So we're going to start on level 1, as all good games do. And I want you to keep the breath just within this section. So don't take it past the lungs. I want you to purposefully keep it here. Just start breathing and exhaling. Breathing and exhaling. Keep breathing here. As you're breathing, I want you to start to notice what's happening inside your body. Are you just observing the breath in and out, keeping it here? Do you feel any anxiety? Is this becoming quite hard? Do you feel almost a little restricted, like you want to push past the barrier of where this hand is by just keeping the breath just here? Just observe. Just keep the breath in the collar area, in the clavicle. Just keep it right here. Don't let it pass. You're going to be here just for a few more seconds. Keep breathing. You're doing beautifully. Becoming quite a challenge, right? It's almost like you're begging, your body's begging you to please take in more air. I want you to feel the uncomfortability of that. So most of the time we're breathing here unconsciously. All that's happening now is we're bringing conscious intent and awareness to the breath. That's why you're feeling the uncomfortability, because you're being made aware of it. Most of the time people are breathing here, but because they're so distracted or not present in the here now moment, they don't even realize or feel that they're actually breathing very shallow. Beautiful. Keep going. Keep going. Two more breaths. Push, 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 push. Beautiful. On the next inhalation, exhalation, I want you to put your hands on the side of your rib cage here, just under your bosom, if you have one. Some men also have bigger boobs than some ladies. In today's day and age, you can have both. You know what I mean? So move your hands right here along the rib cage, yes? I want you to purposely feel and breathe into those ribs. I want you to feel the extension, expansion, contraction. Beautiful. So breathe in past the clavicle into the left and right lung. Remember, the inhalation is as equally important and powerful as the exhalation. At level 2, you rarely have the full opportunity and benefit to play and feel into the magic power that both exhalation and exhalation offer you. So breathe in nice and deep, fill up those lungs. And contract, exhaling. Beautiful. Keep breathing here. Remember your tongue placement in the mouth. just up against the palate. Keep breathing in level 2. Relax the jaw. Relax the shoulders. Remember that rod of light. Remember nice, strong, engaged core. So the diaphragm is engaged and up and not clumped over. Beautiful. Keep breathing here. We're going to breathe in for 3 more deep breaths. So give it some horns. One more. Beautiful. Now for level 3, I want you to place your hands just over the belly. So just under the rib cage over here. You're just going to gently place your hands. And I want you to breathe right here into the belly where my hands have interlaced together. So imagine taking the air all the way past the collarbone and clavicle, past the lungs, and almost pushing it all the way down into the diaphragm, down into the belly, deep over here. Yes? Use the power of your imagination because it's going to help you take in that breath. Beautiful. Let's go. Beautiful. You're going to keep breathing here. Keep breathing at level 3. You'll notice that this part starts to extend outwards and inwards, and it's less about the lungs flaring up and contracting. It's more about the belly becoming fuller. So you'll feel the subtle difference. If this is the first time you're doing this, it may require a little bit of practice just to bring and foster the awareness into this section because it's not ordinarily a place that we breathe frequently into unless breathwork is a part of our daily lives or we're familiar with it. But if you're new to it, it might take a little bit of practice. So that's perfect. It's okay. Be gentle with yourself. Yes, just play here a little bit. Play with your breath. Try get it down and try and extend and feel the air almost rising and falling in the belly. That was a lung breath. Could you feel? I could feel that, right? So now let's take it down over here. Beautiful. You're going to keep breathing here just for a little bit longer. I want you to push yourself as hard as you can here. Yes, it's called breath work for a reason. We sometimes have to work a little bit here. Yes, we're activating all those capillaries. We're oxygenating the body, getting extra oxygen to the brain. So you might feel a bit like it is. You can get high on your own supply. Trust me, this is possible. So when you think you can't breathe anymore into your diaphragm, I want you just to remain still, find the stillness just for a moment, center yourself, and then I want you to muster the strength and try and breathe in a little bit more. I want you to imagine that all the cells in your body have little gaps of air pockets. And the second that you center and ground yourself, all those cells kind of like dissipate and ground together, and you're left with a little bit of space to take in more air. So take in that extra air before you blow it out, right? So let's maybe do 3 of these. I'm here with you, so let's go. So I've stopped at what I think is my maximum. I'm settling. And I'm taking in a bit more air. And then out we go. One more. Let's go. Push, push, push. Beautiful. Push all that air out, all of it. Magical. Wonderful. So as I was doing this, there were a couple of things that was coming to my awareness of prompts, which I perhaps should have made clear. So whenever we do this type of breath work, we always breathe in through the nose and out through the nose. This 3-part breath in particular. There are some other breath works where you utilize the power of the exhale of the mouth or inhale of the mouth. But for the 3-part breath, I generally like to keep it only within the nasal cavity and area. So you're bringing only awareness in and out of here. You're acting different meridian points in different parts of the brain and the points or all the systems within the body to assist and offer balance. And I guess try and find a beautiful, calm and quiet space and place. It doesn't have to be necessarily, but if you're doing this for the first time, then I would definitely recommend it. And I guess another thing that I would like to make reference to is how, I just want to remind you, because I already did mention it, but how important that exhalation is. So most of the time when we breathe in, we think it's pretty easy, yes? That level 3 is probably the first time where you really are forced to like suck that extra breath in. So you've got to work a little bit more. But what I've realized and noticed over my time of practicing with various people and many of my clients is there's this hesitation to push and release that exhale fully. It's almost like they keep holding on to a little bit of that air just in case there's nothing available once everything's out. And I find that so fascinating because it can tell you a lot about your psyche and the psychosis that's going on inside your own mind. So I encourage you to really practice the discipline of fostering a full, powerful exhalation. Make sure there's nothing left behind. There's no residual. You want to push all of that air out. You don't want to have like riff-raff energy lagging behind and straggling there so that you can't appreciate the richness and the purity and the fullness of your next breath. It's almost like you're hanging on to the leftovers because you're scared there's not going to be something there for you to take. So yes, breathwork does require a degree and an element of trust within oneself and of course with the Almighty Creator for it to be there, right? But I guess that's the beauty of it. It's almost like I see breathwork as just this beautiful form of exchange, energy exchange with the Almighty Creator and with you. And it's almost like when you're breathing in, God's breathing out. And when you're breathing out, God's breathing in your breath, you know? Just look at the trees. Same thing, right? The trees take in the carbon dioxide and they release the oxygen. We take in the oxygen and release the carbon dioxide. So the one can't exist without the other. So yeah, I guess those are some of the key reasons why I love breath work. And I really do believe that it's changed my life. It's allowed me to become more present, more still within my own being. I know that I have many people in, it's always the family that challenge you a little bit more. And I know that for many people looking out in, it just looks like you're breathing. You know what I mean? Like you're just breathing, like, you know what I mean? So what? Everyone breathes. Yeah. But what is the quality of your breath? You might be taking in lots of quantity, short, shallow breaths, but there's no real depth and substance and therefore sustenance to your breath. So they always do say that the quality of your breath determines the quality of your life. So yes, breath work is life. Breathing is life, and hence its importance. You delicious human, thank you for indulging me and playing along. I trust that this has been beneficial. Of course, you are welcome to save it. and return to it at any point in time. Once you understand the basics and fundamentals, you really don't need me to guide you. You can do it in your own time, in your own pace, with your own voice, and with your own theatrics and things that you want to add and create and feel. But yes, as always, drop a comment, subscribe, like, do all those things. And continue to sow those seeds. Allow for the flow of not only life, but your very own breath to find you, so that you may continue to grow, illuminate, and glow. Until tomorrow's episode, number 57, stay beautiful.